in the heart of a lively Yoruba village where laughter echoed and tradition thrived, a grand wedding was taking place. Omotayo, a kind and beautiful young woman, was marrying Adedeji, a proud and hard-working farmer. The entire village gathered in colorful attire, dancing and singing to the rhythmic beat of the talking drums. As Omotayo entered a new home, the elders surrounded her with words of wisdom. A wife must take care of her husband, they said, and the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Omotayo smiled and nodded, but deep inside, she had a plan, a lesson to teach. On her first morning as a wife, Omotayo set to work in the kitchen. The aroma of freshly pounded yam and egusi soup filled the air. But one thing was missing: salt. She stirred the pot, her face calm and determined. This was the beginning of her lesson. That evening, Adedeji sat at the table, eager to taste his wife's cooking. He took a generous bite and frowned. He chewed slowly, his expression puzzled. Something was off. He cleared his throat. "Omotayo, did you forget something?" he asked. Omotayo only smiled. "Eat, my husband," she said softly. The rest of the family exchanged glances, but said nothing. The meal was bland, but they did not want to offend the new bride. By morning, the entire village had heard the news. Women gathered under the great baobab tree, whispering in hushed tones. A new bride who does not know how to cook, they gossiped. "What a shame!" The men shook their heads and even the children giggled, but Omotayo remained unbothered. That night, she prepared another meal, again without salt. This time, as Adedeji ate, she sat beside him and spoke. "My husband, did you notice the missing salt?" Adedeji nodded. "Yes," he admitted. "Then why do we never notice it when it is there?" Omotayo asked gently. Silence filled the room as her words sank in. Adedeji looked down at his plate, deep in thought. He had never considered it before. The salt had always been there, so he had taken it for granted. Only now, in his absence, did he realize its worth. "It is true," he said finally. "We take small things for granted until they are missing. From today, I will learn to appreciate even the tiniest blessings." The next day, Adedeji surprised Omotayo with a beautifully carved wooden salt jar. It was his way of saying thank you, not just for cooking, but for opening his eyes. He called the villagers together and shared the lesson he had learned. From that day on, the people of the village began to appreciate the little things in life, understanding that even the smallest grains of salt could bring great joy. And so, the wisdom of Omotayo's lesson was passed down through generations, a reminder that the smallest things often make the biggest difference.